Quiet Riot, in just a short few years, would make music history while also seeing their career tumble. Today, let's take a look at the decade that proved to be bittersweet for the band Quiet Riot. Founded by guitarist prodigy Randi Rhoads and bassist Kelly Garni, Quiet Riot would be a band that initially struggled to get record label attention, with labels thinking their music was not modern enough for the times. So it was kind of surprising when the band got an opportunity to sign with a major label, they tried to sabotage it. Formed in 1973, Quiet Riot's founding members would find frontman Kevin Drubrow and drummer Drew Forsyth. They would call themselves Mach 1 before they changed their names to Little Women, and they eventually settled on the name Quiet Riot, and by the later part of the decade, they became one of the hottest bands in LA. While they signed with Sony Records, the label opted not to release their first two records in America, only selling them in Japan, feeling that Van Halen was the official LA band. So the band never got a fair shake stateside early in their career. Adding to the issues was the tension within the group. Kelly Garni nearly killed Kevin Drubrow in a drunken brawl, while Randi Rhoads didn't like the group's frontman. The founding members soon left the group, and Rudy Sarzo would join as the bassist, and Rhoads left to join Ozzy's band. Sarzo, who actually played with Rhoads for a little bit in Quiet Riot, would admit that once Rhoads left the group, he thought the band was done. But it was following Rhoads' untimely death in a freak accident that Sarzo rejoined Quiet Riot. Replacing Rhoads was guitarist Carlos Cavazo, and instrumental to the band's first big break in America was producer Spencer Proffer. Proffer would admit that one day he was driving around Los Angeles and heard the band Slade's 1973 song, Come On Feel the Noise. He loved the participatory nature of the song, and he had actually had a deal with CBS Records and thought that if he could find a band to record a cover, he could probably get more attention from the label than he was getting at the time. He soon got in touch with some friends in LA who told him about a band named Dubrow, as Quiet Riot had temporarily changed their name during this time. Dubrow was playing anthemic rock, and Proffer went to one of their shows, which they played to about 20 people, and he was pretty impressed. Proffer met the band following the gig, and they worked out a deal. Proffer had a studio named Pasha, and he offered the band free studio time to record 3 of their own tracks if they also did a cover of Come On Feel the Noise. Dubrow was reluctant since he didn't like the idea of covering someone else's songs. The band, however, came up with a plan to sabotage the recording of the track, thinking that if they made it unusable, then CBS Records would have to listen to their 3 other tracks. By this point in time, the band was no longer signed to Sony Records. So to sabotage the song, the band agreed not to rehearse it ahead of time and just wing it in the studio. It turned out Proffer loved the version the band cut and used it. So with a demo recorded, Proffer went to his contacts at CBS Records, gave them the demo, and they were less than impressed. However, he did receive money to finish recording an album's worth of material. CBS also hated the name Dubrow, and they changed their name back to Quiet Riot. The band would record their record Mental Health, which came out in 1983, but getting the title track played wasn't easy. Proffer had to personally plead with program directors at stations to spin the single, which they finally agreed to do so, and it soon became one of the most requested tracks on the radio at the time. MTV also aired the video for the song at 3 in the morning, and the clip blew up. The subsequent singles would include Come On Feel the Noise, and the album would blow up, becoming the first metal album in history to top the charts in America. It would go 6 times platinum. Wanting to repeat the same success, the band, feeling pressured by their label, released their follow-up album, 1984's Condition Critical, that featured similar artwork to its predecessor and, funny enough, also contained a Slade cover. But the record only sold 1 million copies, a sixth of Mental Health. Things were even worse in 1986 when the band released Quiet Riot 3. The band's relationship with their label was dysfunctional even after they had success. The label didn't suck up to Quiet Riot, instead telling them to be grateful for everything they had. Add to this Dubrow's outspokenness and ego, and he was butting heads with his bandmates. And Dubrow in one interview claimed that Ozzy sang like a frog, creating some awkwardness with Rudy Sarzo. Benally would add, I tried to explain to Kevin, but he wouldn't listen. If you're a Quiet Riot fan, there's 9 out of 10 chances you're going to be a fan of other rock bands in the same genre. You start picking at those bands, and the fans are going to have to make a choice. Adding to the problems was Dubrow's substance abuse issues. Cavazo, meanwhile, would add, Kevin, we all know, had a drug problem, and I'm not trying to place the blame on him because we were all doing it. I think he may have said a few wrong things because he had a cocaine hangover, an alcohol hangover, whatever, but I think he said a few wrong things and then it started putting a crack in the band. By 1985, Sarzo would leave the group, and the disappointing sales of Quiet Riot 3 saw the band playing smaller venues, and they would also tour with an up-and-coming band named Poison, who were touring behind their debut record, Look What the Cat Dragged In. Poison drummer Ricky Rocket would recall in the book Nothing But a Good Time Some of those early tours in the Winnebago were tough. Kevin Drubrow and their manager were not the easiest people to deal with. We had too many restrictions on us. A lot of audiences were there to see Quiet Riot. They didn't give a damn who the opening act was. We started to embrace that competitiveness. Meanwhile, Frankie Banali, who felt bad for the members of Poison since they had no rider to speak of, would fill up grocery bags full of food and drinks and bring it over to Poison's dressing room. It was 2 months into the tour, Poison's career suddenly took off and Quiet Riot continued their downward trend. Either as a way of showcasing their excitement or disrespecting Quiet Riot, Poison trashed their bathroom in one of the venues, and according to Banali, since Quiet Riot were the headliners, they got the bill for the damage. Things finished on the wrong foot as the tour was playing somewhere cold, maybe Minneapolis, with Banali recalling in Nothing But a Good Time. As Poison is walking off stage, our manager said, "Okay fellas, the dressing room is this way." He opened the door and threw them out into the snow and caused some really bad vibes. By 1987, Dubrow was out of the band at the request of the label, their management, and even the band members were said to be sick of him. Quiet Riot would return in 1989 with a new frontman and put out their self-titled record, which was more blues-influenced and a bigger departure from their past sound, but they were unable to replicate their early 80s success. As for Dubrow, he would return to the group in 1993 and fronted until his death in 2007. Drummer Frankie Banali would look back at his relationship with the frontman, recalling in Nothing But a Good Time, "I really loved Kevin, but Kevin's biggest fault was the fact that he was the most honest person I've ever known in my entire life. And what I mean by that is that whatever he thought about something, he said it. The difference is that, he used to say it in his apartment, and all of a sudden he was saying it to the world." That concludes today's video, guys. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like button, subscribe, and we'll see you again. Rock and roll your stories. Take care.